Hi all, once again welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Imani and today we will be solving a question from CodeSignal called century from the year. Century from year. Okay, so let's pick and let's start solving the question. So the problem says, given a year, return the century it is in. The first century spans from the year 1 up to and including the year 100. The second from the year 101 up to and including the year 200, etc. So we are given an example here that we are given a year 1905. The output should be solution. The output should be 20. Okay, so the function is called solution here, where the input is the year, and this function solution should return 20 for a particular year, which is, for this case, the year is 1905. And for the year 1700, the function should return century 17. So 1700 belongs to the 17th century, and the 1905 year belongs to the 20th century. So we have to write a function that, given an input, the function year, given an input year, should return the century it is in. Okay, so let's start analyzing this solution and come up with a proper answer. So we'll be solving this in C++. Okay, so we know that the question wants us to write a function that takes in an input which is the year, okay, and returns the century the year belongs to. Okay, so we already know this. Now if you look at this, if you look at the question here, we have got, for example, year 1905. Okay, if you look at this example, we know that 1900 belongs to the century, belongs to the 20th century. Okay, why does it belong to the 20th century? Because 1905 starts from the year if you look at the question, it says year 1 to year 100 belongs to the first century. Okay, so year 101 up to year 200 belongs to the second century. So in this case now, year 1905 belongs to the 20th century. How can this be achieved? We can achieve this by looking at the same sequence that we have observed here. So year 1901 to year 2,000. Okay, this will all belong to the 20th century. Okay, so how can we obtain this number of centuries? If you look carefully, that when we have the year, if we divide the year to 100, because century is in the category from year 1 to year 100, so it's like the difference between 100 year 100 and year 1 is 99 years in between. So in this case now, if you can say that if we divide the number of years with 100, okay, and get a remainder of 0, that means the value obtained is going to be the number of century. What do I mean by saying this? For example, if we take 1700 and divide by 100, we don't get a remainder here because it will be straight away to give us a value of 17. So this is going to be our century. Okay, so this is going to be the century, the value of the century for the year 1700. So it will tell us that 1700 belongs to the 17th century. But if you take 1905 and divide by 100, okay, we get a remainder. In this case, over here on top, the remainder was 0. But for our case here, we get 19, okay, but the remainder is 5. So in our case here, we get a remainder. That means we have to add the value of 19 with 1 to get the number of centuries for this year. Okay, so we'll take 19 plus 1, and this will give us the 20th century. Okay, now let's use this idea here that we have discussed to write a solution for this question. Okay, so looking at the solution here, we have a function called solution that takes an input, which is the number of years, and now we have to return the number of centuries for that particular year. So now let's say that the century is obtained by dividing the year with 100. Okay, remember, we want the integer part of it, so we don't want the decimal point. The century is always a whole number, in an integer, doesn't have a decimal point on it, so our century should be an integer. not a floating point number. So when we divide the year to 100, if the century, the remainder, okay, sorry, if the year when divided by 100, if it gives us a remainder, if it doesn't give us a remainder of 0, okay, if when the year divided by 100 doesn't give us a remainder of 0, that's what I mean over here. If it doesn't give us a remainder of 0, then we will return the value of the century that we have plus 1. Okay, but if that condition is not true, then we just return the value of the century. Okay, let's run the test and see what we get. Yep, and looks like we've ticked all the boxes. And yes, that's all for today, and let's submit our solution. And yes, now we have got the problem right. Yep, thank you guys, and see you in the next one.